Hey everybody. A lot of you have asked me to share my gear with you, what I would keep, what I wouldn't have kept, what I wish I would have had instead. And so I had never planned on doing a gear video because there are so many gear videos out there. But because I've been asked over and over and over, I'm going to go on ahead and do that. Y'all know this is the backpack that I use. It's the Osprey Ija 58, and I love this backpack. This is not an ultralight pack, but is the pack that worked best for me. I went through many backpacks during the training period before I actually started the trail to try and find the right pack for me, including ultralight packs, which didn't work with my frame or the fact that I have scoliosis, and I needed a pack that was not going to hurt my back and felt good to me. This was the one that did it, and I wouldn't trade this pack for anything. So this is a big piece of gear, and while it is not ultralight, I would recommend this to anybody that is looking for a good backpack. It is an awesome one. I felt like the best way for me to do this was to repack my pack and just unpack it so you could see the things that I had in there. One of the things I did not do was I did not attach the brain to the pack. I took this off, I didn't use it. So let's get started. I'm going to start with what I put in the front. This was my toiletries bag, my shovel, my knock bag, and my Sawyer squeeze. Yep, that's it. That's all it was in front. So I'm going to put this to the side and I'm going to talk about those things for just a minute. I am a Ziploc person, and so you're going to notice that these are in Ziplocs. I did this because I'm me, and this is just how I'm organized. This was my knock bag, and I cannot recommend this piece of equipment enough. A lot of people use the smaller one. This is a 2-liter. This is what I would recommend because when you fill your smart water bottle and when you fill your 20-ounce bottle, if you have a 20-ounce bottle on the front of you, this does a good job of filling up both without having to go back and refill it up. And I never did do a video on how to filter water. I'm going to do one of those here at the house, but it's really not going to be like doing it out in, the forest. And so I apologize I wasn't able to do that. There were a couple of things that kept me from actually doing that video. One is I lost my tripod early on, and there was just no way for me to do it for a couple of 100 miles. And then the weather just always seemed to be raining. So I apologize for that. And there are other videos out there on YouTube, but because I was asked to do it, I'm going to go on ahead and fulfill the commitment that I made to do that video. In another bag, I have my Sawyer squeeze. So I kept my Sawyer squeeze in an old sock, and this was one of my old running socks. And the reason I did that was because these continuously drip. And a lot of you are saying, so what, it's your backpack, it can drip on the outside of your pack. It's just me, it's just the way I am. So I put this in here in the wintertime mainly for it to absorb the water. And then there wasn't frozen water on the outside of this because it was so cold when I was hiking. Additionally, when I put this back inside the sock and back inside the bag, I put the Sawyer squeeze up underneath my shirt, underneath my jacket, zipped it up, and this is where I carried it while I was hiking to keep it warm. The Sawyer squeeze, I also slept with it underneath right here, while I was sleeping to keep it from freezing, to keep that, I'll show you. There's a little gasket that's right on the inside there. And that gasket can crack. Once that gasket cracks, it no longer filters your water properly, and Cryptosporidium, Giardia, any other number of bacteria can get through. I always wanted to make sure that this was taken care of properly, and that's what I did. Also, when I finished using this to filter water, I would shake it very vigorously to get the water to come out from both ends from what was left over on the inside. I would just shake it and then I would put it inside my sock and then inside the bag. That's what I used. I know I'm gonna get flack for this sock, but that's what I did. Just being honest and transparent. Okay, this is my shovel. Y'all know what this is for. This was my hygiene bag. So let's see what was in here. I had wet wipes, also in a bag, just what I do. I had my hand sanitizer in a bag and my toilet paper. This is 5 days worth of toilet paper in this little Ziploc bag. So I want to talk about these liners. This is a little squirmy for me. It may be a little squirmy for the male audience out there, but for you females, I've never seen anybody do a video on this, and so I'm just going to put myself out there and make myself uncomfortable in an effort to hopefully help someone that may need this. These little liners, in addition for the purpose that they were intended for, are good for another reason, and that reason is this. When you hike, you just have hiker funk that occurs, and it's a smell that is not, it's not pleasant, especially after you have hiked for 4 or 5 or 6 days. And so you have a pair of underwear that you're wearing, you put one of these in, you take it off at the end of the day, and a lot of that funk disappears with this. And so you do have to pack this out. You have to think about that. To me, it was worth it. The next day, you turn your underwear inside out, you put on another one of these. That's 2 days. You have 2 pairs of underwear with you, the pair that you're wearing and the extra pair that you pack. So if you do that, wearing them one day the regular way, turning them inside out the other day, that's 4 days of protection. If you're hiking for 5 days, 1 day is going to be commando. You're not going to get one of these unless you can find a way to put those inside what you're wearing without it moving around. But it does help, and for those of you that have had children, and you're going to know what I mean when I share this, you know, you have tiny little raindrops that decide that they are going to appear when you least expect it. And, you know, you cough, you sneeze, you get a cold, you have an allergy attack, and, you know, the unexpected happens. This helps with that, and at the end of the day, you can remove that funk from you, roll it up, put it in your trash bag, take it out, leave no trace. These do not go into the privy receptacles. These don't go there. The only thing that goes there is poop, pee, and your toilet paper. That's it. These have to be packed out. So I'm sorry if that made anybody uncomfortable, but I wish somebody had told me about these in the beginning because it was very helpful. There were a couple other female hikers that were in my age group. We all kind of talked to each other. I shared this information with them, and we found that these worked really, really well. I want to talk to you about my Dr. Bronner soap. This soap is awesome. It is ultra super concentrated, and I emptied, before I ever left to go hike, I only took about a half of a bottle of this. This is so concentrated, you only need 2 or 3 dots on your hands to be able to wash a pair of underwear or to wash a pair of socks out. In the summertime, this is what I did. I took my Dr. Bronner soap and I took one of these 1-gallon bags. I filled the bag up about 3/4 of the way with filtered water, and I put 5 or 6 drops of this soap inside of the bag and kind of moved it around. What I did was, in the summertime, I packed these coins. These coins expand, and as I said, I've already done a video on this. I put the coins inside of here and I would take it out. At the end of the day, when I was in my tent and the vestibule area was closed and I could actually take a little bit of a bath, I would use one of these to wash my face. I would wash my arms, under my arms, my neck, and that was as far as this would go because it was filthy. I went through 4 of these every single day. That's some weight to be carrying because the weight on these adds up, and I have a week's worth of coins in this bag. The other one I would use to wash down my feet and my legs, and then the other 2 were used for my private area. And a lot of men may not know this, but you know, for women, you don't cross-contaminate when you're cleaning, and so you go from the front to the back, and then you clean your back. You cannot use one towel to be able to clean the whole area, and especially in between your legs where there are a lot of sweat glands and there is a lot of hiker funk smell in that area. These have to be packed out. You cannot put these in the privy area as well. So you need to think about whether you're willing to carry out that kind of weight at the end of, you know, a 4 or 5 day hike. For me, it's worth it. It made me feel better. It made me feel cleaner. And I still stunk. I still stunk, but I didn't stink as bad as some others. I'm going to talk to you about what I learned on the trail in another video, and one of those things is going to be about hiker smell. One of the other things I packed, and this is in the winter, was hot hands. And you know I love these hot hands. I did not use them a lot when I was hiking on the inside of my gloves, but there were times when I did. When it was 15 to 20 degrees outside, my hands just did not, my fingers did not want to work very well. So this is a packet. This would work, this packet of 2 would work, 1 in each hand. But what I also did at night, whenever I went to bed, is I would put one of these in the back of my pants, between my pants and my underwear, to keep my bum warm, because you know what? It was like a popsicle, and I'm not going to apologize for that. This helped a lot. And so these I would put 4 days worth in my pack. These are heavy, and you all always wondered, well, why is her pack so heavy? When you start adding things like this in the summertime, or you add things like this in the wintertime, that's one of the things that makes your pack heavy. I could not hike without these. I had to have these. This umbrella. I didn't like this umbrella. I was told that I would love this umbrella and I would be so grateful that I had it, and I was not. I did not like this umbrella, and I would not take it again. It was awkward to me, and I think a lot of people use umbrellas and they're happy with them. That was a very expensive umbrella. But I wouldn't have bought it, and I wouldn't have taken it again. It doesn't weigh hardly anything. I never used it once, and I got rid of it about halfway through my hike. It's probably just me. I have a bit of a problem with claustrophobia, and it took me a long time just to get used to wearing glasses with having something near my face, and this thing just all about me. It wasn't worth it to me. I just used my rain jacket and I was fine. So this just, it didn't work for me. This is a Nemo switchback, and each one of these little sections weighs 1 ounce. It comes in 16 little panels, and you can actually cut the panels just right here on this scored portion. I did that, and I cut off 2 sections. So each one of these sections weighs 1 ounce. This is 2 ounces right here. I cut this where it would work from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet, and because I'm short, that's all I needed were that many sections. Some people say to cut these to your knees because you don't need that padding on the, you know, this portion of your body. I didn't do that, and the reason why, this was placed underneath my air mattress in order to protect my air mattress, but it also provided extra cushioning. And because I'm a side sleeper, I loved this. This was a wonderful product, and I would take this over and over and over again. If you stuck with me through my videos, you know that about halfway through, I wanted to take some weight off my pack, and this was 14 ounces. It's almost a pound. So I went ahead and took this off my pack. I did not take this on that portion of my trip, and I regretted it every single day. If I had to do it all over again, I would not have done that, and I would have kept this with me for the entire trip. What did I do with this? I packed it with me, so I didn't actually cut any weight at all from the 16 ounces that this weighs, the 1 pound. What I used this for was a kneeling pad, a sitting pad, and it was very useful. I used it over and over and over and over, so if I had to do it all over again, I still would have taken this with me. Before we get into the contents of my bag, I want to talk to you about my hiking poles. These are Black Diamond ergonomic, cork-handled hiking poles. The cork is antimicrobial, and I loved these poles. They worked perfectly for me. If I had to do it all over again, I would buy these again and again and again. I don't regret these, and I needed them every single day. The other thing about these mattresses, a lot of hikers only use this to sleep in. They don't actually take an air mattress with them, and I'm going to have to imagine those are younger hikers and also hikers that are not side sleepers. We're using those mattresses for more cushioning on our sides. A lot of hikers only had these. Okay, let's talk about water now. So I have a 33.8 ounce smart water bottle, and a lot of hikers used the flip caps. I did not use those, and the reason why is because my thumbs, we can talk about that at another time, it was difficult for me to open and close. I just used the screw-on, screw-off cap. I never had a problem with this. I will tell you that I packed an extra one of these in my emergency kit, a cap, in case this one fell and rolled down the side of a mountain. I would have an extra cap with me. The only thing I ever kept in here was filtered water. I did not put unfiltered water into this bottle. I also had a 20-ounce bottle with me, and I do not buy these. My daughter would buy these, and her family would drink the contents, and then she would clean these and give these to me. These are vitamin water bottles, and they are very hard plastic. They go in the dishwasher really well without disfiguring or melting, and if you ever see me carrying one of these and it's red, I'm drinking Diet Cranberry juice, or if it's yellow or pink, I'm drinking lemonade or some kind of Propel or a liquid IV solution. So these are very effective, and I love these. Additionally, I carried an extra one of these caps just in case something happened as well. That never happened on the trip, so I actually was carrying the weight of those 2 caps with me, but if I had to do it all over again, I would do the same thing. So let's talk about the smart water bottle. Some hikers put unfiltered water in here. That was their system. Everybody has their own system. There's not a right and wrong way to do this. I only kept filtered water in mine. And also, whenever I got to the point where this was all the fluid that I had left, this was completely empty, and this was all I had left, I knew that I needed to make sure that I refilled my water bottles. I didn't wait anything past this 20-ounce mark. For me, that was my safety mechanism. I learned a hard lesson 2 times about water, and one of them was with my husband when we did a shakedown hike last year going to Molly's Ridge. We had looked at AWOL's guide. This was before I was very familiar with Far Out, and Molly's Ridge said that there was a water source there. We got to Molly's Ridge and there was no water, and we had about this much liquid left in the 20-ounce bottle. That was all that we had left for the rest of the night and for the next day until we got to a water source. That was a tough lesson to learn, and I didn't ever want to repeat that lesson again. What I have learned is when you are passing over a water source, and so often you're just walking straight over one, you don't actually have to go down a hill or walk some distance to fill up a bottle off trail down a Blue Blaze. When you're walking over, just stop for a minute, get your knock bag out, fill up your water bottle, and have this full. A lot of hikers don't operate like that, and for them, that is absolutely fine. There is no right or wrong way to do that. But for me, I always felt it was a safety issue, so I tried to keep this full. The reason hikers don't do that is because they don't want to carry the extra water weight. It makes perfect sense, but for me to have confidence and to know that I have enough water to last until whenever, I just always try and make sure that this is as full as possible, because I actually don't trust there's going to be water at the next water source. You think there is, you hope there is, and since then I have learned to read Far Out a lot better, but even sometimes Far Out has been iffy. And so That's just my mechanism for trying to find out about water and making sure that my water bottle is full. Okay, so now we're going to get to the inside of my bag. Even though I'm not going to be an official Thru-Hiker for 2023, I'm really proud to have that badge hanging on my pack. Okay. This is a compactor bag, not a contractor bag, but a compactor bag for trash compactors that I use to put everything inside so that it would stay waterproof. And so I'm just going to start taking out some items. And this is not packed officially as I would have packed a regular pack while on trail, but it's pretty close. There are a lot of things in this bag. One of the things in my bag was my 0 degree enlightened equipment quilt, and we're going to talk about this in just a minute. So I have a big Agnes tent, and I did not like the container, the bag that the big Agnes tent came in, because the way I wanted to pack and distribute weight in my backpack. And so this is a Sea to Summit dry bag, and it weighs, I think, 1 ounce, and so my tent is inside of this bag. This is my Nemo Tensor air mattress. An extra set of glasses, my hairbrush. This is for me to be able to roll out my legs and my feet. We'll talk about this more in a few minutes. My Sea to Summit sleeping bag liner, my duck back, the footprint for my tent, my cooking stove and pot and fuel source are in here, my pillow, my head net, a Rology ball. We're going to talk about this more in a minute too. My emergency kit, my hygiene kit, my electronics kit, a band, a stretchy band, and we're going to talk about this more in detail in a minute as well. And this is not full, but this was my Z-Packs food bag, beer bag. My enlightened equipment quilt. I would buy this over and over and over again. A lot of people say a quilt. I would never have a quilt. Those things don't work right. You get cold from, the cold coming up underneath. For those people that say that, this is my response. They may not be using the quilt properly. Maybe they've had a bad experience with it, but if this is installed properly on your air mattress or around the foam mattress that you're sleeping on, there is no draft that comes up from underneath the quilt. I was hiking in the winter. There were several hikers that actually I heard talking about how cold they were with the quilt and that the breeze was coming up underneath the quilt. And I asked if they wouldn't mind if I shared some information with them, and they all said, no, please share whatever you know. I will share this with you. I never thought I was cold-natured. In fact, I thought I was hot-natured, but in the wintertime, apparently, I need quite a bit of warmth. And so this is a 0 degree bag. I use this in conjunction with my Sea to Summit sleeping bag liner. I would not trade this out for anything, and I kept this in my bag even in the summer, and I'll share more with you about that in just a second. I slept with this in addition to my 0 degree quilt, and I had on 5 layers of clothes. That included my jacket. And so it was very cold and it was very, very windy, and that's what it took for me to stay warm. Strangely enough, I did not sleep with any socks on because my feet got hot. Whatever, who understands that? I would not trade this out for anything. I love this. It is, I think it's called a silk. I've done a video on this before. I think this is a silk nylon blend. And I washed this over and over and over on the trail. I absolutely loved it. It was wonderful. I cannot recommend this enough. my Nemo Tensor air mattress. This thing is the bee's knees, people. I loved this. I saw this a lot on the trail. I'm going to share something with you about air mattresses. Do your research, people. Do your research before you buy one and before you go. Please do your research. Listen to them, lay them out, listen to them, and in a very quiet moment, listen to how noisy they are. There are some sleeping mattresses out there that are incredibly annoying, and when you're in a shelter full of 6 to 17 people, and they have mattresses, air mattresses of all different kinds, and you're listening to potato chip bags all night long, you may think you're going to be able to sleep, but even those people that sleep usually fall asleep in a minute, and they sleep really hard, they would wake up because of the noise these things make. This one was the best. This was the best that I found. I don't know how to pronounce this word properly. Climate. It begins with a K. They have an air mattress. Sea to Summit has an air mattress. There are several out there. They're all very, very noisy. This one still makes noise, but it is not as noisy as those are. I loved this, and I can't recommend this enough. One of the things I found interesting on the trail is that Nemo Tensor comes with a bag, an air bag that you blow into. I've done a video on that, so you can look at that at a different time if you're interested. You kind of just blow into it, you roll it up, and you push the air from that bag into the air mattress. A lot of people had those little electronic devices that they would turn on and they would just blow up what they had. Those things make more noise than you can imagine, but they fill up the air mattresses that quick, and people loved them. I did not have them. I would not have one because I felt like it was too noisy. I think they weigh 1 or 2 ounces, but the people that had them loved them, so perhaps that's an option for you. My tent. I have a big Agnes tent, and it came in a container that was more this direction and about this big around. I could not find a way to pack that into my pack where the weight was being distributed the way that I wanted it to, and things fit into the inside of my pack the way that I wanted it to. So I purchased this Sea to Summit dry bag to put my tent in, even though a tent doesn't need a dry bag, but I put that in here. My pillow. I love this pillow. I went through a lot of pillows trying to find the right one. And a lot of Sea to Summit pillows, a lot of different pillows. This is a Hike-enture. It's like Hike, H-I-K-E-N-T-U-R-E. I love this pillow. It has a strap that actually goes around your air mattress and stays there, so when you lay down, your pillow isn't ricocheting off the side of your tent or slipping out from under your head all night long. This also has a soft cover where it's not making a potato chippy noise in your ear all night long. You can actually take the air bladder out from the inside of this. This is what it looks like, and you can wash this. And so I was very, very happy with this. Again, it's a Hike-enture, H-I-K-E-N-T-U-R-E. I bought it off of Amazon. I think it was less than $20, and it might have been a little bit more. I don't remember, but it's far less than a Sea to Summit, and there's nothing wrong with those Sea to Summit pillows except they just didn't work for me. Additionally, you can see that there's a little groove here and a little groove on the other side that kind of tucks up under your neck where it works well. But what I really liked about it was the strap and the fact that it stayed on my air mattress so well. This just contains the footprint to my tent. I have my duck bag for the outside of my backpack when it was raining. I carried an extra set of glasses, and for anybody that wears glasses and knows that you cannot see without your glasses, this is mandatory. It's extra weight. Other hikers may not understand that, but for you that cannot see without glasses, you know that this is a must. My stove, I loved my stove. This is a Pocket Rocket 2 Deluxe, and so I have a pack towel in here, P-A-C-K, a pack towel, that's the name of the brand, and I have the little Pocket Rocket stove right here. and then my fuel was on the inside. What I did was, you can either buy a small pack towel, or I bought a bath size towel and cut it in half. I used this portion, I put it on the inside of my pot. I put my fuel on the inside of that. I kind of closed it over a little bit, put my pocket rocket in there, and then closed it up. And then that way, I didn't have to listen to the rattle. I don't know about other hikers, and it's probably just me. Maybe it's my age. Maybe it's the way I was raised. I don't know, but I can't stand listening to anything moving around, making a sound in the back of my backpack, and this kept it from doing that. One of the other things I did with my pot, I'm going to be doing a short video on snacks and food because I've been asked over and over and over to do that. One of the ways that I carried my food, my perishables, my avocados and my tomatoes was inside this pot. I didn't have my fuel source or my stove on the inside of here. I had my avocado and my tomatoes so they wouldn't get smashed, and just carried it like that. And that was how I was able to do that. I know. Don't laugh at me. As Jason said, "Nani, is that a tomato? There are no tomatoes on the trail." I had tomatoes. I had a head net with me, and I never used this. I seem to say often it only weighs an ounce or two, and ultralight hikers always shave down to the last 1 or 2 ounces. I am not an ultralight hiker, and yes, my pack was a little bit too heavy. I did wish it was lighter, but I was not going to leave this head net out, nor was I going to leave a couple of the other things that are in here out. So, of course, I did not need this in the winter. You could leave this out in the winter, but in the spring and in the summer, although I did not use this, it probably would have come in handy. I'm going to share why I probably didn't need this in the early spring. The biting flies were probably not out yet, and I used picaridin. We'll talk about that in just a minute because I'm getting ready to go through my hygiene kit. I had my hairbrush. I looked for a hairbrush that was a collapsible hairbrush that was smaller than this. This kind of took up a little bit of space, but I have very thick hair and a lot of hair, and this was the only thing that would go through my hair. I tried about 6 or 7 hairbrushes before I found one that had a short handle that was light that would actually go through this hot mess on my head. So this was the hairbrush that I used. We're going to talk about the things now that I used for my feet and my legs while I was hiking. This is called a tiger tail, and this is my husband's tiger tail. It's very long, but it comes in a mini version, and it weighs less than half of what this one weighs. He used this, and I used this while I was at home, and I thought, I wonder if they make this in a smaller size. They do. I started off with this Rology ball, and there are a lot of hikers that swear by this ball to be able to massage their feet, massage sort of muscles, put this up against a wall and rub, their back, their shoulders, whatever it is that's hurting. I didn't find that this was as useful as it needed to be for me. So I don't regret buying it, but once I discovered this is what I would have carried with me. So this was not useful for me, but I think it's probably useful for many, many hikers along the way. This little mechanism was used to actually roll out my calves at the end of the day, on the side, on the fronts. I would stand up, I would put my feet over it to be able to do the bottom of my feet. I would do the backs of my feet for the plantar fasciitis or Achilles tendonitis. I would put this underneath my heels, roll my heels on it. I would put my toes on it and rub my toes. This thing rotates, it moves, it just moves with you, and it was awesome. I would not go backpacking again without this in my backpack. This is heavy, and this was what added to my weight, but it's what I had to have for me, for my feet, for my calves, and the problems that I had with those. I took this band. I can see hikers now going, oh my gosh, she took the band. I did take the band. This thing weighs an ounce. Would I do it again? I would absolutely do it again because I was able to stretch out my feet and pull my feet towards me to stretch out the backs of my legs. I had a lot of problems with my calves and my feet while I was on trail, and I don't regret taking this. I would have taken this again. It was worth it for me. You all wanted to know what was in my bag. I'm trying to share. This was in there. My electronics. I loved my electronics bag. I had my Anchor 20,000 milliamp charger with me. I had 2 wall chargers. A lot of people only carry one. I carried 2. That is probably some weight that I could have cut, but it worked best for me. And if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't change anything. This is an Anchor plug. It is a fast charging plug. I also have the fast charging cord, and this is a Samsung plug. This Anchor plug has USB-C and USB ports, and of which I used both, and then the Samsung just has the one port. And I had these little twist ties. I love these things, they're awesome. This looks like a set of headphones for my iPod, but it's not. These are headphones for my telephone. This was an awesome, awesome discovery. I actually saw Renee from Couch to Trail using these one evening, and I thought she was talking to me, but when I looked at her a little bit more, I could see that we had not made eye contact and that she was still talking. She was using these to speak to her husband because the microphone is right here for her phone. And she just plugged it into her telephone and she was able to have those conversations. I didn't even know they made these. I know. I don't know what to tell you. You know, sometimes I don't know everything about technology. Well, it's not sometimes, it's often. But, you know, once I learned about these, what I really liked about them is I plugged them into my telephone at night and I could actually edit my videos while I was in the shelter. And when you get into your sleeping bag at 5:30 or 6:30 in the afternoon because it's already turned dark or it's freezing cold, this was a pretty cool way for me to be able to edit my videos. So I had my charger, I had those earphones, I had a fast charging plug, and then I had my iPhone plug for my iPod. I don't have an iPhone, I have an Android, but this was used for my iPod, and of course, I couldn't use it for anything else, but I listened to my iPod every single day because I did so many videos, again with the plastic bag. I used this device to be able to attach to my telephone and actually download the videos off of my phone onto a disk through this device. And the reason I had to do that was because if I didn't, my phone became so full I wasn't able to video anymore. There are other mechanisms that can be used for getting videos off of your telephone and not taking up space. One is Dropbox, but I did not utilize that. This was the mechanism I used and it worked well for me. That was everything in my electronics bag. So here is my hygiene kit, and I'm just going to dump it out and go through what I had in here. This was one of the heaviest things besides my food bag that I had, and some of you will be going, you don't need that much stuff in your hygiene bag. I kind of weaned things down and I found that these are the things that I felt the most comfortable with. I had to make sure that I thought about, you know, you're carrying that on your back and you're only using those items every 4 days or so. But for me, every 4 days I wanted these items. They were not always available where I went, and so to me it was worth being able to carry the weight to have these things with me. I had a fingernail file, some baby powder. There's Imodium and Benadryl in this pack. I had extra strength Tylenol and extra strength Motrin. I used this every single day. I had Blistex, and I carried 2 of these. I carried one in my hygiene kit and one in my fanny pack, which I have not gone over with you yet, but I will. These are cleansing wipes for my glasses. These were mandatory. I really needed these. I carried a little plastic bag with 4 Tums in there in case my tummy needed them. I had a Fresnel lens. I did a video on this. It's just a little credit card sized flexible plastic magnifying glass that you could use to be able to see. And I did that for ticks. My toothbrush, my toothpaste, dental floss, some lotion. There's a little mirror in here to be able to see ticks behind you using a mirror wherever you're looking. Because I hiked solo so much, I didn't have a lot of people around me. I felt like I needed this in this little mirror. It's really kind of a plastic piece of gear. This only weighs, I believe this weighs an ounce. I had hair ties and bobby pins for my hair. These are the 2 things that I wanted to talk to you about that a lot of people didn't carry. I carry packets of keratin and I carry sunscreen. These can end up weighing quite a bit. This is a 4-ounce container of sunscreen. I emptied half of it. It was only 2 ounces after I emptied a portion of it, and that included the weight of the container. Began warming up enough. I put both of these on every single day. This picaridin for mosquito bites, for chiggers, for gnats, for whiteflies, for lots of different things. This picaridin, I swear by this. This kept me from getting burned. When you put this and this on together, you are a greasy mess. And in addition to the sweat, it is not pleasant. Thus, the reason I use those coins in the summertime was because I was so grimy at the end of the day from having these 2 things on me and sweat. I had to get that off of me because I felt horrible, and I didn't want all that greasy, hot, sweaty mess rubbing up against the inside of my quilt. A lot of you will say, well, why were you using your quilt in the summer? Believe it or not, there were summer days when it was actually got cold at night and I needed to use that quilt. I also used a sleeping bag liner, and that kept a lot of gunk going onto my quilt. It saved it. The sleeping bag liner was good for 3 things. One was keeping me extra warm in the winter. It was also a barrier to absorb a lot of that sweat and funky smell off of me without it going into my quilt. And number 3, in the summertime, I did not use my quilt. I only used that sleeping bag liner when I was going to bed, and it worked out perfectly. Let me get back to this. I want to tell you, the other day I did a video and gave you an update while I was in a park, and I've already posted that. You all have seen that. While I was there, I got a mosquito bite on my leg. I was reminded that when I used this for the entirety of my AT hike, I never got 1 mosquito bite, not 1. And I am a mosquito buffet. I was out there doing that short little video and got a mosquito bite just standing there by that water. I did not get any mosquito bites, nor did I have 1 tick bite on the trail. This stuff is incredible. Sawyer, the people that make your Sawyer Squeeze, this is a Sawyer product. They make this as well. They also make this, which is called Stay Put Sunscreen SPF 30. This is a Sawyer product. I loved this. I put this on my neck. I put this on my arms. There's only one day that I got burned, and that was the day that I hiked up Roan Mountain, and I was hiking over those balls. I forgot to put this on. It was a pleasant day. I didn't think about the fact that I needed to have sunscreen, and I actually blistered. And shame on me, I knew better, and I had this with me, I just didn't think about putting it on that morning. I love both of these products, so they are in my hygiene kit. I had a couple of luxury items, and one is this tiny little lipstick container. I bought these tubes online from Amazon. They're empty, and you can fill them full of anything that you want. You can take the cap off, and you can take this little lip gloss liner thing off. You can pull it out where it's a larger opening. This is hair conditioner. And the reason why is because my hair, it's thick, it is coarse, it is unmanageable after I wash it. If I don't have a certain kind of conditioner on my hair, I can't get the hairbrush through my hair. I tried using conditioner at a couple of different hostels, and when I got out, I tried to brush my hair out. I couldn't get the brush to go through my hair. I had to get back in the shower, and I had to put this on my hair. I actually ran out of this, and there were a couple of days, a couple of times that I was in hostels, I just had to use their conditioner, and I couldn't brush my hair when I got out. I just pulled it back into a ponytail, and it was like a rat's nest. So this, to me, although it's a luxury item for a lot of people, this is the conditioner I use at home, and I know what works for my hair. So this was in my bag. Okay, these are my tent stakes. This is my Kula cloth, and this, I told you I bought a bath size pack towel, and I cut it in half. The other half was attached here to the side of my pack. And let me tell you, nose drool is real, and it's not just in the winter time. Nose drool is real all the time. So I was constantly wiping my eyes and wiping my nose with that. It is soft as it can be. It kept my nose from chafing. It was soft and tender on my eyes and on my lips, and so I cannot say enough about this. And it is P-A-C-K, and towel is spelled T-O-W-L. There is no E in it. You can get these on Amazon, you can get these at REI, you can get these at any outfitter store I think carries these. I love, love, love this product. I cannot say enough about it. When I decided I wasn't going to carry that larger Nemo switchback, I had actually purchased this short little kneeling pad, and I think in my Big Agnes tent video that you saw where I was setting up a tent, this was what I had, and this was a wonderful little pad. I got this on Amazon, and it was a great little thing to have. But I don't carry both. If I'm carrying the Nemo, I have this with me, which I use as my kneeling pad and my sitting pad. If I don't have those, then I just carry this, and I put it in the side pocket of my backpack. I had my headlamp. This is a Phoenix HM50R, and I'm telling you, this thing is incredible. You can see China with this thing, and China's where it came from, so there you go. The other thing I did was I kept a Sharpie, a pencil, and a pad with me, and this is an all-weather pad. It's waterproof paper, and every day what I would do is I would put the date on there, day 1, February 4th, 2023, Saturday, and I would write departure time, departed from, hike to, arrival time, weather, and I would write down what kind of day I had, and then I would say injuries, no pain, no wildlife. I met Christian Boy Scouts that day, and they prayed with me. Sassafras Mountain, hard with an exclamation point, even though full moon, slept pretty well. Pack of coyotes howling, military machine gun fire in the background. Used hand warmers. Round Brown gave me on my rear end because it was a popsicle. My dinner that night was 1/2 of a bag of nuts and a protein bar, too tired to eat, and I was not hungry. So I just kept notes, and many times I would write names of the hikers that I met and where they were from, and I have a whole notebook full of these, and I went through 4 of these notebooks while I was hiking so that I could refer back to them and just have a memory of what I was doing. This was an awesome little thing to have. Okay, the contents of my fanny pack. I loved my fanny pack, and I would not give this up for anything. I carried my iPod headphones, and even though I had my hygiene kit, I carried I need to get to this quick, I don't have time to mess with that, a small little Ziploc bag of toilet paper. I had 2 Ziploc bags they've got about 12 silica gel packs in here. These little silica gel packs. And the reason why is because the telephone I have is very finicky, and when it was raining or misty or just very, very damp, I would actually put my telephone in here with these silica gel packs to keep my phone in proper working order. I have 2 of them, so I would put my iPod in the other one as well, so it was not affected by the damp weather. I kept my snacks in here, my drink mix is in here, my pepper spray was in here, I kept my knife in here, here's another snack, my whistle was in here. I kept 2 days of pain relievers in my fanny pack, and that was so I didn't have to dig through my hygiene kit to try and get those out at the end of the day, especially when it was so cold and my fingers didn't want to work properly. There was another Blistex in here. I kept one in my hygiene kit, and I kept one in my fanny pack, and there were often times when I actually lost one of these, and I was glad that I had the other one because I had to have this on my lips every day. And my earplugs, I kept those in here because at night I could simply pull them out real quick. I didn't have to search through my hygiene kit or somewhere else. I knew exactly where they were. They were right here. So my emergency pack was this. I had some duct tape that was rolled up. I had some alcohol prep pads, and I had my patches for my air mattress for my tent. The alcohol prep pads would be able to clean it where the patches would stick down properly and stay without peeling off. I had Neosporin, I had Benadryl, and I had a prescription of, I had a Z-Pack with me of antibiotics in case something happened to me while on trail and I couldn't get to a doctor or I couldn't get it fast enough because it was a weekend. I met with my doctor before I went on trail. She agreed that it was a good idea for me to have that, and she didn't have a problem writing that prescription with me under those circumstances. She wouldn't have done it any other time that way, but she did do it as a safety, as a precaution for me to be prepared while I was on trail. I have the caps from the 2 water bottles that I told you, and I had an emergency set of headphones with me. You're going to think an emergency set of headphones, believe it or not, 2 sets of headphones broke on me while I was on trail just from the motion, the wires, disconnected. They broke, whatever the reason was, and I actually used those often, so I was really glad that I had done that. And I had my emergency water purifying tablets with me in case something happened with my Sawyer squeeze. I had a way to take care of my water, even though you have to wait quite a while to be able to drink your water after putting these tablets in there. I didn't want to carry the little drop bottles with me. I just felt they just weren't right for me. I think they're great for anybody else, but this is what I use. I think this video has been gracious plenty long enough. I feel like I have just talked forever. I hope that me sharing this information with you has been helpful. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send me a little comment. I'll try and answer it as I can. And I have not gone over my summer or my winter clothing with you. I'll do that in another video. That was also packed, of course, in my backpack, and that was part of my pack weight. And I'll talk to you about shoes and socks for plantar fasciitis. And there will be a video on food and snacks. I hope this has answered your questions, and thank you so much for being with me today. Y'all take good care, and I'll see you in my next video.